Guys, it's Steven here. Welcome back to another video and another match preview. Hope you're all doing well today. Today we're going to look at Manchester City's game against Burnley. A game that would usually be relatively confident about at home, but of course, given the bigger picture at the moment, we're probably going to be a little bit apprehensive about it. So today we're going to look at the overview, look at the team news, go through the lineup as usual, look a little bit at the opposition and try and predict that ultimately important score and all the usual stuff basically, because this game's going to be an interesting one. So let's jump into the overview. Now, obviously, this is off the bat, this is a very important game given Manchester City's form at the moment. We're currently pretty far behind the leaders, but we're not out of touch in distance, and we can't let the likes of Liverpool and Tottenham get further and further ahead. So we have to simply win this game. We're currently in the bottom half of the table, of course, 8 points behind the leaders, though with a game in hand, which is very important because it gets down to 5 points and City pick up some form. It doesn't feel unfeasible. Now, of course, City did have a nice midweek stroll against Olympiacos. It wasn't perfect, but it was a pretty decent performance, and it was nice just to get that Champions League qualification out of the way, which then allows us to focus on the Premier League for a few weeks at least. Now, obviously, it isn't going well. A tally of 12 points after 8 games is our worst start to a season since 2008 and 9 season, and also our goals have dried up, and we've only hit the net 10 times in the league so far, back of the net 10 times, which is a negative goal difference for us, which isn't good at all. And our lowest tally at this stage since the 2006-7 pre-takeover era, which I think was Stuart Pearce's season, was it? Someone correct me if I'm wrong there. Either way, that is not good. And our average number of shots on targets and conversion rate are all lower than any other campaign under Guardiola. Long story short, it's been a pretty poor start to the season so far. So I think it's pretty important that we go into this game with absolutely loads of focus. We need to win this game. We have to try new things, get some ideas, get a little bit of creativity and a little bit of momentum in this game, and try and build on the Olympiacos performance where we showed a little bit, in my personal opinion, of course, a little bit of natural width, and for once we did actually create some chances. Recently it's been us passing around and creating a few chances, and we did actually create plenty against Olympiacos. Obviously we were still wasteful, but we still created some. But anyway, the actual good news, if we move on to the team news, is that everyone is fit. Yeah, Manchester City have a full squad back in training. Nathan Ake is now back in training, joining the likes of Fernandinho, Aguero, Mendy, and everyone else available for selection, which is absolutely fantastic. And obviously, Mr. Pep Guardiola is very happy about that. He had this to say. He said, "Everything is good, much better to have everyone. It's tough to have 4 players out. It's important to have everyone for the rotation. To have everyone involved is important." He sounds like a parody of himself. It's important to have players, everyone involved is important. Indeed, it is important, Mr. Guardiola. To have everyone involved is important. It's good now, obviously, because, you know, we can play basically the players who deserve to play. I know that was the case roughly anyway a week or two ago, but now everyone, confidence in squad competition is a good thing, because if one player drops off, for example, if Laporte drops off, he knows he's got Ake breathing down his neck. If Gabriel Jesus doesn't play well, he knows he's got Aguero there. And likewise, you've got the same for Foden challenging Mahrez, you've got Bernardo challenging everyone else, and so many players now, obviously, that they have to rise to the challenge in front of him. We could see Fernandinho back in the team with Gundogan, and Rodri doesn't play well. I'm being silly, of course Rodri's going to play every single game. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to. That's up for debate, just being facetious, of course. But the point is, it's good, not just for the fitness and rotation, it's good because it makes others, in theory, at least try and up their game. So that is absolutely huge. It's also very difficult news for me. Because I've got to now try and predict the lineup. It's going to be very, very difficult. Obviously, Mr. Ederson, Ederson Maurice, I don't know why I did it almost like a Scottish accent then. Ederson is going to be in goal. The back four gets interesting because I think there's one position up for debate now, though I do suspect it'll be relatively familiar. We know it's going to be Kyle Walker at right back, given he was rested midweek against Olympiacos, which is good because obviously he needed a rest. He didn't even fly on the plane. He was just sat at home with his feet up, having a party, probably. Hopefully a legal party. Then obviously Diaz and Laporte. Will be the back four. I'm almost certain they will. Stones was good the other day, but it'll go back to what we need. Not what we need, what we perceive to be our strongest defence at the moment. I think Ake probably will sit on the bench for this one, by the way, given the fact that he's not really ready yet, I would say. He might be, actually, but I don't think he'll start this game. Left back. Probably going to be João Cancelo. I thought Mendy, contrary to the opinion of many people, I thought Mendy was actually pretty decent against Olympiacos. And his mere presence showed an actual bit of width, which helped stretch the pitch a little bit and helped find spaces for Foden to get in behind in the inside channel, which David Silva made so famous. So If Mendy starts this one, I wouldn't be upset, and I also wouldn't be surprised given it kind of worked the other day. Having said that, I still think it'll be Joao Cancelo who's going to play this game. In terms of actual midfield, Rodri's going to play this game. We know he is. I think Bernardo will start again. Gundogan was good the other night, but I think it'll be Rodri and Bernardo. And Kevin De Bruyne is, of course, going to start. Kevin De Bruyne, given he's had a rest midweek, will, of course, start this game, which does leave Phil Foden out of midfield. Will he play up front? I can't. Maybe he'll just play what he did the other day. Sterling will play, I reckon. I think Foden will start, actually. I'm going to say Foden will start because he was good the other day. And I think he deserves a start. And he's certainly got the energy at the moment and the fitness to do it. So I'm going to say Foden will start this one. Gabriel Jesus through the middle. Aguero's still on the bench because Aguero isn't fully there yet. And these are some comments from Pep. He said he's going to give us a decision. He's still not in his best condition, which doesn't surprise me. He said his injury was long. He needs to be sharp. The quality to score in the box, we don't have doubts, but he needs a bit of time. Training sessions and the minutes he will have. He deserves with the club the fair talks to do what is best for him, the club and everyone. As a human being, I never found a big star to be like him. So Guardiola loves him. And obviously he's referring to the contract situation and all that kind of stuff. But it's good to have Aguero back there and challenging, but I'm not expecting Aguero to be the sharpest at the moment, so I will say Jesus through the middle. And I mean, it could be miles wrong with this team, but let me know your team down in the comments below. On to our opposition. Let me get Burnley's results up. What I do know is that Burnley have struggled a little bit recently, if we're being honest. They did pick up their first victory of the season, taking them to the heady heights of 17 out of the relegation zone, and only 4 places behind us, though. A lot of points behind us, if we're being honest. 5 points to run. We've only one win so far, which is a big one for them against Crystal Palace. They've had a very, very poor start to the season. Of course, we've already played them as well. We played them in the Carabao Cup, beating them 3-0. They've had a 3-1 defeat to Newcastle, a draw 0-0 against West Brom, lost to Spurs 1-0, lost to Chelsea 3-0, drew against Brighton 0-0. Lots of zeros in their goal scoring thing. They also lost to Leicester 4-2, lost 1-0 to Southampton. It's not been a good time for them, and to be honest, they've struggled an awful lot. Now, City should feel confident usually against Burnley. We've won our last 6 home games against Burnley by an aggregate score of 24 goals to 2. Including 3 successive 5-0 home triumphs. We can actually be the only second team in the history of English football and the first since 1907 if we win 5-0 to get 4 successive home games against a specific opponent by 5 or more goals, which is a mad fact. Probably not going to happen, but that's crazy. And also, you got to remember that City genuinely have a good record against Burnley. It often doesn't feel like we do, but we actually do. We've won our last 6 meetings, home or away, by an aggregate score of 23-1. And I remember, of course, 4-1 last season with Rodri scoring an absolute blinder. He's the kind of player who play well in this game, I think, in a physical game. I think Rodri's actually the right choice for this, by the way. And we scored more Premier League goals against Burnley than any other club has managed. So basically, we often usually batter Burnley, but it doesn't feel like it for whatever reason. And I think we're just associating the start of Guardiola's reign at Turf Moor, when obviously it was very hard to get victories there. But we usually did manage it. So it's, as much as it's frustrating, we probably should feel confident because Burnley have struggled. I mean, they've got the lowest amount of goals scored so far this season with only 4 goals in their opening game so far. And they've had an awful lot of injuries as well, Burnley. They have struggled to get all their players on the pitch. And they've had a couple of blows as well recently. Nick Pope is apparently unlikely to feature. He got a knock recently, meaning Bailey Peacock-Farrell, a guy I've never heard of, and who's now obviously set to have the game of his life, will be in goal. Then the likes of Robbie Brady, Dale Stephens, and Jack Cork are all out for this game. So it's a big, big loss for them. And I think Burnley, like a few other teams, are probably one of the ones missing the fans at the moment because Turf Moor, the atmosphere there is so intense. It's so on the players. Obviously, the fans are really close to the pitch. It's an old school environment, and that definitely would have built into this fear factor of going away to Burnley, and that's just kind of gone. I know this is at home, by the way, but the point I'm making is that Burnley have struggled this season, potentially because of that. Maybe the emotion out the game that the fans bring has hit Burnley a little bit. Having said that, I suspect by the end of the season, Burnley will be fine, but this is going to be an interesting game. And now, in terms of my prediction, it's about scoring goals, really, isn't it? City just have to score goals. We have to create chances. We have to get in there and score goals. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we do in this game. Pep, of course, has talked a little bit about the goal scoring situation, and he said this. He said important is obviously broken English. So important is the last games we played, we created much more than the opponents. You can win the game or lose it, but you are closest to winning if you have more than the opponents in terms of chances. One day we will break and put on the table what we deserve. We need to put players in the box. So obviously Guardiola feels like something is kind of right. It's just not fully clicking at the moment. And we are still creating some chances. I did think the stats against Spurs were a little bit misleading, given the fact that most of their chances were from like 18 to 20 yards out, long range pot shots basically. And we've not really created lots of great chances, I would say. Though Olympiacos did feel like a slight change in that. I'm not sure if it's just the quality of the opposition or not, but hopefully we continue on in that vein anyway. And he's right about us need to put players in the box. We did a little bit against Olympiacos once again and created some chances. So fingers crossed we see more of it. I'm feeling confident for this game. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling it's going to click in this game. I'm going to be very confident and say 3-0 Man City. It could backfire, but I just feel like it's going to be okay. I don't know why. Maybe you've been overly optimistic, but that is just my personal take. Do let me know down in the comments what you reckon it's going to be. I'm feeling confident. I don't know why. It's just a gut instinct. It could be good. It could go crushingly wrong, of course, and this could come back to haunt me. But for now, I'm going to be confident and live in the happy world of Manchester City Football Club. Come on, Pep, don't let me down. For now, though, obviously, please like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you like rational, calm, reason Manchester City talk, and hopefully informative as well. And also get prepared for a watch along tomorrow. I will be there as ever, waffling shit, chatting to you guys and enjoying the good old times, hopefully. Anyway, for now, like this video, comment, like, and I'll see you tomorrow.